Hi there, I'm Billy Earl, and welcome to Delmarva Americana. This is your home for great local music. Started in music.
Well, my mother is a classical pianist, and growing up, there was all kinds of music in our home. Not only classical music, but jazz, folk, you name it. And I just loved it. I also, when I was a young teenager, the folk boom.
Kingston Trio.
Kingston Trio, Joan Baez, Pete Seeger, yes. And that really captured my imagination. And so I saved my allowance and my babysitting money to buy my first guitar. And started playing guitar. Started with folk music.
Okay. Do you know Mike Prettle?
No, I don't.
He's a local lawyer. We have a sailboat together. He did a series of presentations down at the Mack Center on Pete Seeger about his music, the volume, the content. How it was just so entertaining. It was just terrific.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I grew up in a home where my father played music by ear. He kind of fooled around with another number of instruments. He played, I guess, mostly guitar, but he also, early in my childhood, I remember him picking on a banjo some, and I understand he played the mandolin some, but I don't really remember that. I mainly remember the guitar and the banjo.
Uh-huh.
And,
What was your first instrument?
guitar.
Okay.
And kind of, little by little, was learning a few things on guitar. And then I got into playing with a thumb and two finger picks on the guitar. And
Were you playing the banjo at the same time when you did
not
that?
yet. And my father said, "Well, you're doing pretty good with his finger picks. Maybe you ought to have a banjo." Or, you know.
Uh-huh.
But also there was, I grew up and there were 78 records laying around the house of Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs and stuff. And, my father had been very interested in country, hillbilly music, back in the era when the bluegrass and other country music hadn't really diverged so much. So, we were kind of isolated on the Eastern Shore. He had bought these records in his youth. We were unaware that bluegrass music was still an evolving, developing kind of a form. And then when I was 16 years old, I began to pick up some of the public radio stations out of Washington, D.C., and realized that bluegrass was like a very happening thing.
Yes.
And that the tradition, that Bill Monroe was still out there playing, and that, and I got very interested in bluegrass when I was about 16. So then I really was kind of, eaten up with it at that point, and started playing the banjo, kind of consumed, with, tried to play bluegrass banjo, starting at about 16. But I had been playing guitar since, kind of a little bit, gradually picking up some things since like 14. And then kind of simultaneously started in on the fiddle when I was 17.
Oh, you were a curious musician, weren't you? So there was a degree of curiosity on your part for the technical aspects of music.
Yeah, and I grew up in a home where, my father just, he figured out things for himself, and I grew up in a home where the idea that musical learning and training had to be formal wasn't really the normal idea. It was more like, get yourself an instrument and see what you can figure out.
Right, yeah.
So it was more the folk method, I guess, in it kind of coming down from my dad.
Outside of Bill Monroe, who were the artists you were attracted to?
I was really attracted to Ralph Stanley.
Oh, yeah.
And,
of
course, I liked you know, we had a lot of Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs in the house, and I think my dad had a couple of Stanley Brothers 78s, but he kind of didn't really have a lot of exposure to them. But then, you know, I got really interested in Ralph Stanley and found out that there were bluegrass festivals, and got my dad to take me to the Delaware Bluegrass Festival, which was headlined by Ralph Stanley and Bill Monroe. And, you know, and he kind of got back into it too, you know, so it was a cool thing, you know. The thing that sometimes happens with fathers and sons where, you know, the interests kind of go back and forth, and, you know, me being interested in things that he had formerly been interested in kind of got him back into it too, you know, so that was something we enjoyed together.
I have a friend up in Delaware who got banjo from his daddy. His name's Junior Wilson. He basically grew up in a music store.
Yeah.
Boy, what a great thing that is.
Yeah, we know Junior. He's a brilliant guy.
He is, but he's just a nice human being.
Yeah.
He certainly is.
So there you are as a teenager, and you're learning bluegrass music. Are you playing out at all?
I think there was an occasional gig we had with some friends that we jammed with and played with. I think we did a benefit for a private school when I was a teenager, playing bluegrass music in a barn for some kind of a fundraiser thing they were having. And, it's a very vague memory at this point. But I did become interested in trying to figure out what, you know, being a professional musician would be about. And my earliest regular band experience was actually playing in a top 40 band where I played electric banjo and fiddle. But it was at the time when the Eagles were really big,
Yeah.
and Southern rock was coming on, and so this band was a pretty, you know, locally successful bar band, top 40 band with a fair amount of jobs, but they just wanted to add that texture.
Right.
And somebody had told them about me, so that was kind of my first, you know, so I was playing like banjo rolls behind Listen to the Music,
Okay.
other songs, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Or The South's Gonna Do It Again, and those kind of things.
No, I was a big Eagles fan. I still love their stuff.
Yeah. So, did that for a while, and then met some other people and got into doing I had gone to Salisbury State, but I didn't stay with it because I really didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted to do, and my parents just wanted to give me an opportunity to further my education, and, you know, so I kind of started off on the liberal arts major with a music concentration idea.
Okay.
But I didn't really continue beyond my first year, but I met musicians down there.
Yeah.
And so I met this guy named Ed Cantwell, and he had kind of a songwriting partnership with another friend named Doug Schenker. And we ended up doing an LP that came out in 1979. It was kind of a regional buzz. And, matter of fact, one of the tracks was even used as an opening theme for a few weeks at WPOC had a Sunday night bluegrass program.
Wow, you were famous.
So we were, you know, the local people thought we were famous. You know?
Okay.
And so we started this group. Started as a duo, really, and then after we did our album, we kind of added people so that we could do the album, make it sound like the album. You know? But that group was called Cantwell and QUILLEN.
Okay.
And there's still, you probably could meet some people around here, you know, people that are my age or older or almost my age in this area that have been here that long. A lot of them still, you know, if I see them, they'll say, "Hey, I remember Cantwell and QUILLEN."
There you go.
So it was good, and it was good, but I felt a little restricted by it in a way because it had been so popular that when we broke up, no matter what I tried to do, people would say, why did Cantwell and QUILLEN break up? You know, well, I'm doing something else now. Yeah, but what happened to you guys?
I don't think most people understand the dynamics of musical groups or playing music with other people. It's a lot like a marriage, a lot like a marriage.
Yeah. So, and things creatively, they run their course.
Yeah.
And when they're fabulous, sometimes they go 4 years and sometimes they go 24 years, but,
Look at the Beatles.
Right. And they did so much within the 4 years or whatever it was that they were very famous.
Yeah.
They kind of went through 15 or 16 years of musical evolution in 4 or 5 years.
It was a fast-moving train.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about what you're doing now.
Well, we've been playing together, I think, a couple years longer than we've been married. We've been married, 25 years, almost 26.
Yeah.
Coming up on 26. And we just kind of started as blending what we had, and it seemed to work well, and still does. Allie coming a little bit more from the folk end of things, and me a little bit more from the traditional country bluegrass end.
Okay.
And so, our backgrounds and our music just seems to naturally complement, and even our voices.
Yeah, and I think it makes it more dynamic, having both the folk and the bluegrass.
I like that combination.
Yeah.
And the other dynamic or whatever that's at work is, I think having your music and my music, there's guys that really are mainly interested in hearing somebody play the banjo, and there's ladies out there that want to hear a sensitive world ballad, and so
there you go.
You have
So
both,
we got it covered.
all things
Okay.
represented, sort of.
Yeah.
And not that it can't go back and forth a little bit, but it just makes it a good place to start from, I guess.
Well, I think it's a wonderful thing. My wife and I sing together, and it's just there's just certain moments when you're connected at a new level. It's not necessarily your marriage level, but it's your musical level, and the two are just very nice.
Definitely.
And at first, we were just using our names. I didn't think that you needed a group name if you were just two people, but we were playing in some venues where people kind of expected you to have a name for your product, even if you were only a duo.
And people kept saying, "Yeah, but what's your name?"
Right.
I'd say, we're Allie and Steve. Yeah, but what's your name? So we were just talking, having a conversation, and Allie was saying, I was talking to my mother the other day, and I just told her, I said, I really feel like we're kindred spirits. And I thought,
there you go.
That's it.
That's the name.
Yeah.
That's the natural name for this duo.
Playing with
serendipity.
Playing with different musicians. Sometimes it clicks, and sometimes it doesn't quite click.
No, sometimes it really doesn't.
But the first time, actually, it was many years ago. The first time that we did something together musically. Friend Paul Birch, who had a studio in Secretary, Maryland for many years, was and he promoted a lot of events at the Civic Center.
At the old
Civic Center, and he was doing a fundraiser, and he called me and he asked me if I would do a couple of songs, and I said, yeah, I'd love to, and it was more of a country theme.
Right.
And I thought, I didn't know Steve very well at that time, but I thought the fiddle would really be nice with some of the country things that I did. And I was very shy about asking him because I didn't know him very well. And so I called him and asked him, and he said, yeah, sure.
Okay, just like that.
Just like that. And we got together and were amazed at how easily everything fell in place. We were just real comfortable with each other musically, and it really clicked. As a matter of fact, after we did that event, Dennis Hazard, who used to be the program director for WSUX in Delaware, came over to me at the end of the show, and he said, "How long have you and Steve been playing together?" And I said, 2 weeks. And he was like, "Wow."
Yeah, wait till we get used to each other.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that happened was, the thing that was featured, we just did a couple songs, but the thing that came across and connected with people was, again, the blend of the voices.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That was just a
We
thing
just did seem to have a
that kind of
natural blend.
clicked with the audience. I mean, I think for me, I wasn't immediately aware of it so much until I heard people saying,
Yeah.
until I was started getting the feedback, that something was happening that wasn't just an ordinary, any combination of voices.
Right. That's beautiful. And so then you married.
We did.
Yeah, and a little while later,
What a beautiful love story.
This was a couple years before we were even dating, I think, at this point. But we did this one in concert.
Yeah.
So we were both in marriages that ended up, not enduring. So
That's a very nice way to
music
say
brought us
it.
back together again.
The music,
initially,
music brought us back
and then
together.
we ended
Yeah.
up getting romantically.
But I think the
together.
thing that's really great about that is, I think when I was younger, I would think that falling in love with someone that you were friends with was really boring or something. But it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is.
That the friendship is such a great foundation.
So this was the Salisbury community of the 70s, which is, kind of the same way it is now. It's like, I don't think we really knew each other when we did that first show, but it was a large circle of people who were all kind of interconnected, so we knew of each. We
Okay.
heard about each other. Or a lot of artists and musicians and whatever that was kind of all part of a big circle that kept in touch with each other.
Well, tell me how you got involved with Celtic music.
I think it was just something for me, there's traces of that sound every now and then that pop up and grab your ear, sort of in the traditional old-timey music and the bluegrass music. And I just gradually became interested in finding out more about it and listening to more of it because my ear just gravitated towards it a little bit. And so, we picked up a little bit more of that repertoire. And I think the other thing, a lot of I do a good job singing bluegrass, but I don't have the Del McCoury kind of a voice.
Okay.
I'm more of a, I sort of sing in the lowest keys that you could possibly do bluegrass in,
Okay.
So, in the Irish music, it was a good fit for my voice for some of those songs where I could sing and go ahead and let it go into a bit more of a big baritone sound.
Yeah.
And sing some of those songs.
Well, a good argument can be made that that Celtic music is the foundation of Appalachian music, which is the basis of country and rock and blues and all of those forms.
Sure, all the folk music that I was listening to in those days of the folk boom, there was a lot of traditional music from England, from all the British Isles, and the Appalachian Mountains, all of it. And so it was kind of a natural thing to be interested in the Celtic music as well.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I came late to the folk music. I only became aware of it through Dylan.
Uh-huh.
But there's a whole history behind it that I didn't realize until years later.
Right.
I was just going to say, you are a big admirer of Joan Baez, and
Certainly.
she did a lot of traditional ballads.
The child ballads.
Yeah. She's an amazing singer.
Yes, she is.
An amazing,
And an amazing lady.
political activist also.
I have a lot of admiration for her.
So where are you all playing these days?
Well, we've gotten accustomed to the idea that we don't really play anywhere regularly. And we don't even think about it too much. You know, we end up doing a festival here, or a wedding reception there, or we are playing for, you know, our four-piece bluegrass group is playing for a fundraiser. I think the actual name of the group is Delaware Wildlands or Delaware Wildlands.
Wetlands. Wildlands.
I think it's
Okay.
Wildlands
Okay.
Incorporated. And Mickey, our friend Mickey, and his group is also going to be a part of that. And
What is this for?
I'm sorry?
What is it for?
It's a foundation's preserving natural habitat.
Uh-huh. It's an environmental group.
Yeah,
It's
so
an
it's a local
Yes.
environmental concern, you know.
And that's the actual name of it is Delaware Wildlands?
Wildlands.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes.
they have a plot of land that's actually I don't know what there's a swamp area now that you go through on Route 54 between Gumboro and Selbyville,
Sure.
and it's right along that road. They
Know it well.
own a tract of land there.
Know it well, yeah.
So they're calling it the Bald Cypress Bluegrass Festival.
How cool.
Yeah.
When is this coming up?
That's coming up in May.
May
May 20th.
May 20th.
Okay. By the way, how do people get hold of you all? What's the best way to communicate with you?
Well, if you're, you know, we have a lot of Salisbury musician friends. If you're into the Salisbury music scene, you might have friends in common with us on Facebook,
Yeah.
and
We
we have
have a presence on Facebook, and we have
a
a
website.
website for Kindred Spirits and also for Free Range.
Okay.
And I believe we've got Gypsy Wind on Reverb Nation.
Is the website easy enough that you can remember how to?
No.
It's under the heading of something else, but it's the band. It's Weebly. Or,
Kindred Spirits Duo.weebly.com. That's
Okay.
what it is.
Wonderful. Tell me more about this this event, this environmental event.
well, there's good food. There's beverage. This will be the third time we've played for it, and hopefully it doesn't rain this time. But
Yeah.
they did have some adequate, not tons of undercover areas, but it turned out to be adequate, including for the stage and performers.
Okay.
I think they're, you know, looking to sell tickets in advance as much as possible, although you could probably show up there and get in. I don't know what the fee would be or anything like that off the top of my head.
Okay.
But it's a good organization.
But I think if you
Great
were
work.
to search DelawareWildlands.org or Delaware Wildlands, you would find it.
Okay.
I don't think it would be a hard thing to search out
Well, good.
on the online.
Good. Hey, do you guys have something you'd like to play?
We can think of something.
Sure.
Okay.
And you want to just go ahead and grab some instruments here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's my
I love tuners, but I just don't trust them.
Well, that's
He
fine.
doesn't
That-
either.
I've got one opener that we don't use that often because it's harder to use, but it's more, you know, if it says it's right,
That's better.
What kind is it?
like the old Sabine or whatever. I'm not
Oh,
sure how
really?
to pronounce it. It's like got red lights on either side to flat and sharp, but if you just light up the green light, you can be pretty sure your open string is right at least. Or whatever. What a D.
Okay.
You know, 97% of what we do is covers.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just pretend they're not.
Just
But I don't think there's a lot that would, you know.
that would be problematic. Probably not.
A lot of them are long-time traditional kind of things.
Okay.
A little bit of Worried Man. 1, 2. I will cross the river, I lay down to sleep. I will cross the river, I lay down to sleep. Like shadows under me. It takes a worried man to say a word of song. It takes a worried man to say a word of song. Worried man, but it won't be worried long. Chain around my leg, 21 lanes, a chain around my leg, and arms lane, dimensions of the pain. It takes a worried man to say a word and song. It takes a worried man to say a word and song. Worried man.
I'm just looking for a 4-leaf clover. I'm just looking for a piece of dirt. I'm just looking for that sweet salvation, a one-piece heart that you just can't hurt. I'm just looking to go to heaven. I'm just looking for a good use forward. I'm just looking for an old resonator. I'm just looking for a flaming sword. Well, I'm just looking for a hot trifecta. I'm just looking to be reborn. I'm just looking for an old twin reaver. I'm just looking for a crown of thorns. I'm just looking to go to heaven. I'm just looking for a good use Ford. I'm just looking for an old resonator. I'm just looking for a flaming sword. I'm just looking for the grace of Jesus. I'm just looking for a porcelain slide. I'm just looking for a 56 fat boy. I'm just looking for a heavenly ride. I'm just looking to go to heaven. I'm just looking for a good use Ford. I'm just looking for an old resonator. I'm just looking for a flaming sword. An old-fashioned woman. I'm just looking for a heart of gold. I'm just looking for a kind word. I'm just looking for my great reward. I'm just looking to go to heaven. I'm just looking for a good use Ford. I'm just looking for an old resonator. I'm just looking for my flaming sword.